This is Frank DeRose, bass instructor at the School of the Blues, bringing you the next installment of Blues Jam Survival Songs We Should Know. Today, I'm going to cover Killin Floor. The most known version of Killin Floor was done by Howlin Wolf, but there is another great version that has come up at the jams recently that was done by Albert King. The people who mostly call this Albert King version are guitar players who come into the blues through the rock blues influences such as Eric Clapton, and they find out that Eric liked Freddie King and Albert King, and they research those artists and they come upon the Albert King version of Killin Floor. Before I get into the playing examples, if you like this video, if you're here for the first time, please hit the subscribe button and the like button. And if you'd like to know more about blues bass playing, you can get my books. You see them here over my shoulder. And of course, if you like my lessons, please feel free to make a small contribution to my PayPal account. That information is in the ending credits as well as the description field below the video in YouTube. So now I'll get set up. You open the tabs and let's learn these two versions of Killin Floor. Let's have a look at the tab. We're in the key of A. We're doing Killin Floor. We're doing the Howlin Wolf version. Where do we start? We're starting on the 9th measure for the introduction, which starts on the E chord for the guitar. The guitar strums syncopated rhythms on measure 9, measure 10, measure 11, and then the band comes in on measure 12, which, if we're in the key of A, measure 9 starts on the E chord, measure 10 is the D chord, that's the 4, measure 11 is the 1, measure 12 in the Howlin Wolf, we're back to the E, which is the 5. This is a straight 8th note style bass line. So when we look down at what is identified as measure 1, when we're playing the A, you see it's a non-quick change, so there is 4 measures of the A in a row. And the bass that I have transcribed is this. On the recording of Howlin Wolf, probably the most famous one, the guitar and the bass play this for the bass line, where that third beat, they're playing 16th notes. They're playing 4 notes of that D. Well, sometimes I've encountered guitar players who play it like this. They'll play those 16th notes on the 2nd note. And sometimes they won't play 16th notes on the 3rd one. They'll play 3. So it's safer for us to play straight 8th notes because this bass line tends to fit with everything that I have encountered that guitar players might play differently than what is on the Howlin Wolf version. So now I'm going to get the player set up and we'll play Howlin Wolf, Killin Floor. If you need to practice, stop the video here and then restart it. Now I'm going to look down at the player, and here we go. Let's do Killin Floor. Man, that thing just drives along like an old locomotive. That's a great, great song. Great fun song to play at a gig, at a jam. And in the band in the box, I was playing a couple of the guitar parts, and I played the guitar part that's going. And then I played the basses. So when you are listening, you can hear how that bass part blends and how the Hubert Sumlin guitar part works with this bass line. And this bass line works if somebody is not playing that Hubert Sumlin part. Sometimes if you're just playing with a single guitar, they may want to do chords, especially if they're singing. It may make it easier for them to sing. So now we've got a bass part that drives the song. Now, I'll get set up. You open the tab for the Albert King version, and we'll learn this other great version. Don't go anywhere. Now it's time for Albert King, Killin Floor. Again, this band track is in the key of A, the same band track except for the introduction. Albert King does a 4-bar introduction, like the Howlin Wolf version does a 4-bar introduction. The difference is the Albert King version, he just plays the chords with the drums and a piano. And you'll hear the guitar part on my Band in the Box version. That's me playing the guitar for some context. And it's 4 bars playing through the 1. And then on the tab where measure number 1 is identified, the bass comes in and Albert starts singing. This bass line is a straight 8th bass line, just like Howlin Wolf's bass line was straight 8ths. The difference is the Albert King bass line is built on the 1, 3, 5, and 6 notes of the chord. So here is the Albert King bass line sound using 1, 3, 5, 6. Here is the Howlin Wolf. You can hear the difference. Now, in the Albert King version, the bass player kind of jumps around using the unmatched pair as the last note. So there are places in the song where the arpeggio on the bass sounds like this. So early in the song, in the one studio recording I listened to, the bass player goes like this. So every other measure, he does the unmatched pair. Then when the guitar solo starts, he uses the unmatched pair almost exclusively through the solo. So in the transcription I'm giving you the unmatched pair so you can get used to playing that, because I am sure that you have played the matched pair in a shuffle, like a Jimmy Reed shuffle or a Chicago shuffle. So now we're playing those same notes but straight. And now we'll do the unmatched pair. And that gives you 2 ways to play this song. You can do the matched pair on all the odd measures, 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, 11, 12. And as you can see, the Albert King one, there is no 5 chord in measure 12. They stay on the 1. And then on the even measures, you can do the unmatched pair. Or you can do the unmatched pair all the way through to get practice in playing unmatched pair. So now I'm going to look down, I'm going to kick off the player, and let's play this Albert King version of Killin Floor. Yeah, Albert King, Killin Floor. And as you can tell by the bass part, knowing the version becomes really important because the bass line has a different melody structure. So now, don't go anywhere. I'll be right back with some final thoughts. All right, those are great bass lines. I hope today's video helps you to understand why the version that the person is calling out is important, because these two bass lines melodically are different. Version becomes very important. And understanding the questions we need to ask or have answered when somebody calls a song off helps us get to the right bass part, which makes for a more successful outcome. Those questions are, what key are we in? What's the song? Who did it? Version. Where do we start? Is there a quick change? Is there a turnaround? Meaning the 12th measure. Do we hit the 5 chord? The 9th measure is not the turnaround. It's just the beginning of the last 4 bars of a blues. But the true turnaround is, do we hit the 5 chord in measure 12? Or in measure 12, do we just play the 1 and turn around and go back to the beginning? So if you've liked today's lesson and want some personal mentoring, I do give lessons over Skype. Contact me by email, frankderose@aol.com. That email is in the ending credits and the description box below the video. So until I see you again, keep on thumping that bass. Bye for now.